everyone. My name is Krista Garcia, and today we're going to be talking about the 4 different components that go into training and coaching, looking into a coach's perspective. Specifically, we're going to be looking at the sport of basketball. The level that we're going to be looking at for the athlete is going to be at an elite performance, meaning professional level, and ultimately we're going to be looking at the point guard position specifically so we can target different components of their abilities. Talking about an athlete's abilities, these are going to be genetic factors that cannot be improved through sport or through training. Meaning that for a point guard position, we're going to be looking at whether they have good eyesight, good memorization skills, or even good height. These are going to be factors that are going to be going into the genetic category. When looking at an athlete specifically for a point guard position or as a whole, we're looking at their technical skills abilities, meaning can they do an effective execution of a particular movement technique? A few of the movements that we're going to be looking at today are going to be the dribbling and passing of the ball. Firstly, with dribbling, can they do a change of pace? Can they do a crossover between the legs or behind the back? Then we're going to be looking at whether they can do effective passing, meaning can they do a bounce pass, overhead pass, a wraparound pass? These are movements and techniques that need to be emphasized and highly practiced. That way they can be specific skills that are going to be flawlessly performed.
Deron Williams inside, goes up strong for the throwdown.
I love it. We're seeing the growth of Deron Williams. This team comes to play hard every night, and it's so much fun covering the Timberwolves.
Now going into tactical skills. This is crucial for a point guard position because they are the leaders guiding the team and setting them up, meaning that they need to be able to do quick decision making, especially in a competitive situation. That way they can properly set up their team. But with this in mind, there are different components that go into having good tactical skills, meaning are they able to see what's going on in the environment, what should they do about it, and how should they do it. Meaning when they're looking at their environment, they need to be able to listen to their coach, hear them out, observe the position of their teammates and their opponents on top of that. And they need to understand the game strategy. So in a point guard position, they're going to be in charge of basically the team setup. Everybody knows their position, but during game day, they need to be able to analyze every single aspect. That way they can execute the game well and score points. And in the next video, I'm going to be showing you different kinds of examples of them making decisions and going through a game situation.
Passes for the Rockets this year. Capella started licking his chops. And on cue, Paul to Capella for the highlight.
See, that was great.
Steals.
Now keep an eye, watch in the middle of the floor. Oh, he goes and gives you a little oopsie, but he knew the trailer was there. Beautiful move.
Chris Paul, the maestro, the point guard with the dive.
Got two guys out there
Yeah, I know.
that have the basketball on a yo-yo. What a pass.
Paul to Capella.
Returning the favor.
He did, and a foul.
Chris Paul taking full advantage of the minutes restriction, a little give and go action with Capella.
We are able to see different tactical skills made by Chris Paul. With these different kind of components and game day situations, we were able to realize and notice how Paul was able to look at his environment with his opponents and his teammates and where they were placed. In the first clip, we were able to notice that Chris immediately knows that his center is trailing right behind him and drew the attention of the defender by using his body as a shield. With that in mind, he was able to accurately pass the ball to his center and thus creating an opening for him to score a point. This is how a point guard should be and how they should accurately go through a situation. He was able to quickly think and go through different kind of situations and was the best plan to execute what he needed to do to be able to score a point. And those are crucial skills, crucial tactical skills that are needed for a point guard position. Now we're going to be going into mental skills. This is extremely important when it comes to a point guard position because since they are the leaders, they are going to be carrying the most heavy toll when it comes to mental stability and patience during game day, especially in the different kind of environments that they can be found in. And as a coach, we need to be able to look at the player, look at our point guard, and see what we can do as a coach. Can we take them out of the situation? Can we develop the athlete within the situation and adjust their arousal level? Because during game day and during any kind of like high intensity match, or however you want to put it, the point guard is going to have very high levels of stress, and they are going to get to a point where either they're going to be completely out of it when it comes to the situation, or they're going to take it and they're going to go with it, and they're going to be able to grow from it during the actual time during the sport, during the game. And what happens is that when they have so many things to focus on, it could either go either way. It could go into a broad focus, or it can go into a narrow focus. With a narrow focus, your point guard is going to be able to attend to numerous of cues that the coach that we will be giving them when it comes into, oh, you need to be able to talk to so-and-so and create better gameplay. This isn't working out. You need to do this, or you need to press. You need to, you need to drive in more. You need to do this, and all these different things while we're on the sidelines talking to them. And sometimes the levels are so high of stress, and they're just focusing on different things. And it can get to the point where they narrow focus, meaning that they're only going to be focusing on one thing, and that could be their environment. They could be looking at the crowd, thinking about the crowd, the amount of pressure for some reason, and they are completely going to zone out. And it can go any way depending how it goes in the situation itself, into the game day. So as a coach, we need to be able to really understand our athlete and break it down into them and see where their strengths lie and when they don't lie, and can they handle high stress situations. And that's when, as a coach, we're going to be reflecting on, are they the best position for a point guard if they're not able to go under the pressure, especially when you go into elite athletes where they're going to be playing in like the NBA and different things like that. You need to understand your point guard and their mental state during game day. Now we're going to be talking about how to help your athletes, specifically in technical skills. And I want to reference back to the clip about Chris Paul and his different kinds of assists helping his team. I think that was a fantastic video to definitely analyze technical skills when it comes to either a wraparound pass, just passing in general, and understanding his environment, where he was able to manipulate his body and the ball to be able to do a perfect pass and do the actual points. So with that in mind, I wanted to talk about how when he was driving in, going in for that basket, he understood that he had a very close, he was not going to be able to go into the basket for a layup, and he was basically understanding the fact that he wasn't going to make that shot. But he knew and understood that since he was going to be pressing on forward, that the defender was going to block him. So with that in mind, he was able to feel and see that his teammate, his center, was right behind him. So with that, he was able to pass the ball, use his body, and because he knew if he automatically stopped or turned or didn't block the defender that was going at him, then it was going to hinder his teammate, his partner, going in for that shot. So he was able, as a point guard, he was able to understand that the situation around him, he needed to use himself and not just rely on his partner, but the team as a whole. That way they can make the shot. So it was a great assist, being able to see that he was able to press on and use his teammates and his idea of how to do it. So going back into that, we're able to go into what to look for, what to do, and how to do it. So in that situation, he was able to see different components that a lot of people can't see. So as a coach, we're not able to see everything that the player is able to see, because we're normally on one side, but we're able to prepare our athletes, especially when it comes into athletes that are very moldable, that you can only teach them so much in regards to different kinds of situations when it comes to games. Because in practice, you can only put up that level of stress so high compared on game day. So to me, the fundamentals are crucial to make sure that they're able to execute every single pass, every single layup, every single kind of, even to free throws and different things like that, to make sure that they're able to do it. So as a point guard, they need to be able to do the regular fundamental high bounce passes, change of pace, the crossovers between the legs, and going into different kind of passing. And to the higher level, it only looks higher level because they're able to master these skills, and that's why these are so important when it comes into game day, because they are going to be making their own pattern, their own continuous patterns to make sure that they're able to mold it into the actual game. Now we're going to be discussing how to coach in different kind of situations that your athlete may be going through. Even when it comes to elite athletes or any kind of level athlete, normally in game situations or in high stress level games, in any kind of situation, especially in basketball, and when it comes into the point guard position and different things like that, being able to properly assist and drive in and create the setup for the actual game can be very stressful, and it can cause for the fundamentals to really be in a way messed up, forgotten, or they just automatically either thrive in stressful situations, or in other times they completely break down depending on the scoring and different things like that that's going on. So different kind of situations, for example, when you are in a high stress situation in basketball, and as a point guard you're going in, you're driving in a lot and setting up, so what can happen? You get a lot of fouls. When you get a lot of fouls, you need to be able to do a lot of free throw shots effortlessly, where it's just going to be one right after the other without feeling like that immense pressure. It should be easy, super basic, super simple. But when it comes into that, as a coach, you're going to be on the sideline. You need to be able to talk to them and be like, hey, you need to get your head in the game. You need to be able to breathe through it. Make sure your eyes are up. Don't be slouching so much. You need to keep your chest up. Remember, follow through. Maybe you need to go through the middle and different things like that. It's the fundamentals in the actual sport. However, when you're at such a high level, it's all mental, and it's basically their anxiety levels and stress levels that are just skyrocketing. So that's what causes a coach to be there and be able to support their athlete when it comes to different situations like that. Along with that kind of situation, when it just comes into free throws, or even going in for a simple layup, and to be like, hey, how come you're not following through? How come? You need to be able to breathe. You need to be able to breathe a lot. You need to be able to breathe while going into the shot. Why are your steps so short? You need to elongate your legs more. You need to be able to drive in more. Why are you holding back? How come you're not driving in as you normally do during practice and things like that? Because when you're in the game, all the conditioning, everything that you've been practicing is going to be there, but it just needs to be at a different level. It has to be at a higher level. Along with just going into layups and free throw passes, you need to be able to talk to your athlete, especially like your point guard, into leading the team properly and setting up. So when that comes in, you need to be able to have key words to make sure that your point guard is listening to you, is really hearing you out during the game and taking your advice while also analyzing their environment and different situations. So when you're coaching and your athletes actually within the game, and different situations actually pop up that you're not expecting, that nobody can really expect. They can be sometimes repetitive in the sense of like, oh, that typically happens a lot and things like that. But when it comes into a different kind of situation where you're gonna be like, hey, how come you're not looking up? Hey, you need to pick up. How come you're not driving through? You need to go in faster. How come you're not passing? Why didn't you pass? You know what I mean? And different things like that. They might be really simple cues, but they're so crucial because they get so into their head that they're not able to execute what they think that they're gonna do. And sometimes they need to hear that from their coach, whether it's going to be on the sidelines during a timeout, or it's going to be actually the coach, you actually yelling at them for those cues. It's constant reminders, small, quick reminders that they can change right when they're going through those situations, when it's a layup, when it's going into the free throws and just driving in or properly assisting and different things like that. That's when you know that you're being able to coach them and mold them during the game, and that's why it's extremely crucial to go into the fundamental cues of simple things. It might be ridiculous, especially at high-level performance athletes, especially like in the NBA and things like that, but that's the foundation of it. If you don't have a good foundation and you're not able to remind them about that foundation and the pillars that make it, then they're not going to be able to hold the team together and score the way that they're supposed to be scoring as a team. And individual players are going to be completely lost because they don't have those cues and those reminders of how to properly execute those skills that they have.